Well, what does it mean to be an American? And who really gets to decide? Today, we dive into the real implications of open borders, birthright citizenship, and what's at stake for our nation's future. Get ready for some tough questions and some even tougher answers. Coming up on 1819 News, the podcast. We have an incredible culture here in the state of Alabama, but our politics and public policy don't reflect the people of Alabama. Media drives culture. Culture is what drives politics and public policy. Welcome, everyone, to 1819 News, the podcast. I'm Bryan Dawson, CEO of 1819 News and host of this here podcast, where we are in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama every single week. This week, I've got another big-name guest coming in, a friend of mine, and we're going to be talking, in order to have a free and flourishing Alabama, we need to know who is an Alabamian and who is an American, and what does it mean to be an American, and who is a citizen, and are these people coming over here on H-1Bs, and Muslims coming over here, and the CHNB, Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, Venezuelan, and all these other things. Certainly seems like there's an attempt by a bunch of different groups to take this beautiful thing we have called our country, the United States of America. We're going to be diving into that with him. Going to bring him in a second, but I just want to talk about that. And I've had this realization. I don't think I've talked about it on my podcast before. And it's this. It's the naivete of the average American on, we have this beautiful thing, and when you have beautiful things, people want to take them because the world is fallen. So I'll give you this. I don't recommend you going and watching this show, specifically, young people and those who love Jesus, but it's Yellowstone, okay? Yellowstone was a hit show, which is very funny that it was such a big show. It's a very patriarchal show, and people that are down with the patriarchy still watched it, but that's beside the point. But the entire premise of this show, Yellowstone, was 200 years ago, this family carved out 50,000 acres in Montana and created the Yellowstone Ranch. And it was this beautiful, incredible piece of property that was absolutely lovely. And for 200 years, the Dutton family was trying to keep their property from being stolen. And for 200 years, it's this group or that group or everything else. And then by the time you get into Yellowstone, you've got private equity companies trying to build condos and airports. You've got environmentalists trying to take it. You've got the Indians trying to take it. You've got all these different groups trying to take the family ranch. And there was a flashback to a younger John Dutton talking to his son when his son was about 10 years old. And they were sitting down on the edge of a tree, looking out over this gorgeous, amazing property. And he says, "Son, I found one thing to be constant in life. And that's, if you build something worth having, there's going to be someone there trying to take it from you. And that is a rule as certain as gravity. If I drop this water bottle right now, it's going to go down every single time. If you have a garden, okay, this is how we say it in Alabama, there's going to be critters trying to eat it, okay? Critters will try and get into your garden and take it. Like, if you have something good, something's going to try and take it. That's the way it is. We have a responsibility to preserve the thing that we have that's been handed to us by our forefathers, and that is the most beautiful nation that's ever existed, the crown of Christendom, the height of Western civilization is the United States of America, and we are so dumb to think that these people who are pouring into our country are here with good intentions to share in our prosperity rather than to suck it dry and get rid of us and replace us. We're stupid, okay? It has to stop. And so I'm bringing on my friend, ex-poster extraordinaire. And when you say poster, it's Poaster, ex-poster extraordinaire, author, and podcast host in his own right, Andrew Isker, also known as Boniface Option, to talk about this specific subject, which he's done a phenomenal job just consistently posting on Twitter. And it's the most bizarre thing. Like, he was one of the only people saying the things that he was saying as he was saying them. And then all of a sudden, everyone's starting to say the things that Andrew was posting 2 years ago. Now it's just common language. And so the power of the post, bringing on Andrew Isker. Thank you so much for driving down to spend some time with me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about two of your books.
Yeah.
2 books. Christian Nationalism that you wrote with Andrew Torba.
That's right.
Phenomenal read. It's like a primer. So you've got Stephen Wolf's The Case for Christian Nationalism. It's this big.
It feels
thick.
Feels like it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you've got Andrew's. It's like this thick. I recommend Andrew's. And it goes into what I would, just consider a basic case for kind of a Kuyperian, all of Christ for all of life, Christian nation. Very simple case, very, very, very normal. And then you wrote the Boniface option. And I think the story of St. Boniface is incredible. Can we just start out and tell me the story of St. Boniface?
Oh, yeah. So that in the 8th century, you have this missionary that comes from Anglo-Saxon England at the time, and he comes to Germania, just across the Rhine, which was still very pagan, and his goal was to spread Christianity, to share the gospel to these people, and of whom were like my ancestors, right? Like the same part of Germany, actually, and he goes there. He crosses the Rhine, brings his retinue, and begins preaching. And the first thing that he does is he goes to their shrine, the Oak of Thor, and tells them, tomorrow I'm going to show up at midday, and I'm going to cut this tree down. And they believed that if you touched it, right, Thor would send lightning out of the heavens and fry you. Yeah. So lots and lots of people showed up to watch this guy get zapped.
Yeah.
Right? And at least the legend goes.
It's totally true.
Which I think is true.
Yeah.
The legend goes that he took one swing and then a great wind came out of the heavens and knocked the tree over. And then all of, the hundreds of people assembled to watch him die were converted, were baptized.
Amen.
That day. Yeah.
It's got it's got a little bit of a St. Patrick feel
very
to
similar.
it,
Yeah.
So very cool. Well, I think that's an amazing story. And you wrote your book, Boniface Option, that was basically taking on Trash World.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
What's your theme of why you wrote Boniface Option? I think you guys need to read, I think, both Christian Nationalism and Boniface Option, but tell us a little bit about Boniface Option.
Thank you. So that book, really, it's taking that theme where obviously, right, the issues that confront us today are not Germanic or Norse paganism, right?
Yeah.
That's not the big pressing issue, actually. But so many, like, just things that are just awful, terrible, messed up.
Yeah.
I write about like what some of it is just presenting a vision of what is normal and normative and the things that God says is good for man, like families, marriage, children, having productive households, having working a good job and providing for your family, things like that. And so many of those things we've manufactured a world where what is normative and good and what everyone just assumed is the baseline is normality are extremely difficult or out of reach for especially young people to get married and have families, to have a career, have good jobs. Like, some of which, we're going to talk about, like the things that have made it impossible. Like it wasn't just like one day, all of a sudden the millennials and the Zoomers said, I just don't want to get married anymore. At least the young men. I don't want to get married. I don't want to work. I want to be lazy and play Xbox. Like you see that, like there was, there was not your senator, not Senator Tuberville.
He's the man.
Or Senator Schmidt, the other, the two,
he's also the man.
The two awesome guys. Yeah. It was another senator. I can't remember which one, or maybe it was the Speaker of the House, Johnson. And
not the man.
No. And talking about like Medicaid and like, you got all these young guys that are just sitting at home playing Xbox, taking Medicaid. And it's like, what are you talking about? Right. Like all of these young men who want to have jobs and get married and have families, like there are reasons why that's not happening, and it's not because they're just lazy and they don't want to work.
Sure.
And so he's just like totally oblivious to that. Most people are.
Yeah.
They just think, okay, theyese young guys they're just lazy. They're not like me. I worked hard, and it's like, well, no, they want to work hard too. So much of our world is messed up in that way. Then you get into cultural and social issues like abortion, like feminism, like transgenderism, all of those things. Actual people have pushed those things into the mainstream, into into normality, and not only normality, but like a positive good.
Yeah.
Right. Saying that these are good things. We should have these. We should celebrate these things. And what they've created, what they produced, is a society that is antithetical to the one that God says is good, the one that He establishes for humanity. That is, how human beings flourish, right? You brought up before we recorded, Tim Keller, and this famous thing is like human flourishing and all that. And it's so funny because he wouldn't actually confront the things that prevent human flourishing.
Yes.
And it's like, you're actually right. They don't, but you're not willing to like go and say this specific thing, like feminism is bad, like it destroys families. Homosexuality is bad. It's evil. You won't say it. Terrified of saying it. But it is, right? No, you should want young men and women to get married. You should want young men especially to be able to have good jobs to provide for a wife and provide for children. And whatever it is in your society that prevents that from happening has to be rooted out, has to be chopped down and destroyed.
Yeah.
So anyway, the book is really just like confronting what this what I call trash world, what it is, right? That it's an actual thing that people have actively decided, they've made decisions to make it be this way, so that like young people are just to have the life that like their grandparents did or their great grandparents did, where most people got married, most people had families, most people had decent jobs that could provide for a household, could have homes, could have things, right? That has been destroyed on purpose. And so how do we confront it and how do we get it back?
Yeah. And I love so your Boniface option was up against the Benedict option. And so the Benedict option is very much the Tim Keller way. Yeah. And I think your way is very much the Charlie Kirk way. So you can see the parallels of the Benedict option, which is the Keller option, which is we need to accommodate the culture, we need to blend into the culture, we need to hide out. I think Dreyer's thing was more we need to hide out and wait till things get better, which is crazy. Tim Keller's
it's just going to spontaneously happen on its own.
And then Tim Keller's thing was we need to accommodate the left. But Kirk and Boniface was no, we need to confront the left. We need to confront the left in order to win them. And Keller thought we had to accommodate the left in order to win them. One person, two people, both that were confronters had brought revival. One to Germany and what appears to be revival beginning in America, and the other brought us the woke church. Right? You decide. And so I think that it's a great point in being able to confront them. So we have to chop down the idols. We don't sit and accommodate the idols. We take an axe to them. We hack down the idols. We attack the idols and we honor God in doing so. And that strategy is actually going to produce real results. And then also the things that are producing trash world, we need to be able to call those out. And that's what I want to really talk to you about. I wanted you to give you a chance to plug your book, and I knew I didn't prepare you to plug your book.
I'm always ready, don't worry.
I'm always ready on a dime, in season, out of season.
That's right.
But one of the things that your Twitter feed, excuse me, Elon, I know you're going to be watching this, and I apologize.
Don't
X
offend him.
Posting has helped me think through how to logically communicate the things that I see that are wrong, specifically as it pertains to kind of a nationalistic. I think everyone is naturally nationalistic, and you have to be taught to not be. And the problem is pedagogically in our society, we are teaching people not to be, because the natural state is to have a government that functions for its people. Like that's the point of the government, is to care for those that it's over. And our government is not over other countries. I'm not going to get into the other countries, but our government is our government, and it's for our people, and it should create an economy for us. And when I was in prison, I had a friend of mine, Chad Gazzetti, handed me, I got saved, and like 2 weeks after I got saved, he hands me Pat Buchanan, Death of the West.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so I'm just crushing this book in prison, The Death of the West. And so I'm all about natalism, having lots of children. I'm all about borders. I'm all about the Long March to the Institutions, and Alexander Gramsci and Herbert Marcuse and them taking so all this stuff. But the piece that I was missing, and I just interviewed Tucker Carlson and talked about this, the piece that I was missing is what you touch on so much, is this idea of the economy actually is supposed to serve the people. And I didn't get that piece. So for 15 years, I've been this paleo-conservative nationalist that was missing that economic piece. And then I watched Tucker Carlson get interviewed by Ben Shapiro for his book, Ship of Fools.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I watched that about 3 years ago, and that's when the light bulb really went off. And then reading the stuff that you post on X about who is a citizen, what is this H-1B visa scam, like all this stuff. It's in these short little snippets that really like catechize you and like how messed up things are.
Yeah.
And so where did that really start for you to be able to begin to think differently than you were obviously raised in that realm?
Yeah. I mean, I was raised, my parents obviously, were very conservative, but the world around me is just is like you described, that no, we're citizens of the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, I grew up in Minnesota and spent most of my life in Minnesota, and probably the first moment I actually began developing ideas about this was at some point in high school, because all of a sudden in my small rural Minnesota town, like a fifth of my high school overnight was Somali.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking like, why did that happen? Right. What are these guys doing here? And our teachers and stuff, they would tell, they're refugees, they're fleeing a war. And so you need to be nice to them. And I wasn't planning on being mean to them or anything, but it was just this matter of fact thing. Like, well, of course, right. Of course, these people from literally the other side of the planet, that have like a totally alien way of life, just completely like different values, right?
Yeah.
That they didn't like really understand how our lives worked, or what was normal, or what how everyone you just assume everyone's going to act. They're very much a product of a third world country, and they didn't know how to live in our world. And so there's all sorts of like very minor conflict and things like that. But it made me wonder, like, well, why are we doing this? Like, what is the purpose? What is the point? And so then by the time I'm in college, lots of foreign students in my college, like there is every college. I remember our senator at the time, Norm Coleman, Republican, comes and tells us why we need to have more and more foreign students. He came and spoke about that at one point, and this is like, after 9/11, he's like, yeah, we need to have more students from the Muslim world. And I'm thinking, but why? Like, why do we want them here if we're fighting them over there? Like, why do we want more of them here? And it never made any sense whatsoever. And so, yeah, my thoughts on these things started to develop that way. I was reading things like Pat Buchanan's books and a lot of paleo-conservative stuff, a lot of paleo-libertarian stuff, and never was like super comfortable with these ideas. But it took a while to like formulate the thoughts. Like, well, why is this so disconcerting? Why is this a problem? Because you don't want to think, so it's just people that are different from me, and I'm scared of differences. It wasn't even that. It was like, no, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like they don't. Most of them don't speak English, and now, I mean, in Minnesota, you have a significant Somali population. Many of them have never learned English, never want to learn English, have no reason to learn English. All the forms, all the government things are in Somali, and then you come to discover, especially over the last like 10 years, like $500 million, $250 million, something like that, have been bilked from a very generous welfare system in Minnesota. And it happens like everywhere, because like you introduce people to a very high trust upper Midwest society, where, right, we don't like you. Even like the worst people feel like a sense of shame if you're scamming everyone else, or you like, I know I'm going to get caught, so why would I do this? At the worst, that doesn't exist in their culture. It's like, like somebody is leaving something out, leaving a bike out, leaving property out.
Mine.
That's there for the taking. And so, they're leaving $250 million out in like, COVID feeding, food for, school children program. well, I'll just take that. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, that's actually like a problem. That's not good to like introduce people that are from a very low trust society into a high trust one, because that's what is going to result from that. But it's evidence of like of a very egalitarian view of the world, that human beings are just fungible units.
Yeah.
That there's no difference between American culture and culture in Somalia or culture in India or culture in China. And there are very acute differences, actually.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think John Doyle, Comrade Doyle, as he calls him, which is hilarious. He's got a podcast called Heck Off Commie, and he was another one who he's just like this 25-year. He's like 28 probably now, but I started watching him a few years ago. And you almost have to microdose his podcast. He'll do like an hour and a half podcast, and I can rewatch like 15-minute segments like 17 times to like get everything that he fire hosed into it.
Yeah.
And it's talking about this same stuff where he's like laying it out like, look, I know that you've been catechized and marinated into thinking this way, but look, and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I not see it? How did I not see it? And I'm usually good at picking things up and propaganda and all that stuff, but there's something about this citizen, what is a nation, what is a citizen, what is an American, that once you begin to really think about that and you see that you've been duped, it's like worse than the COVID scam.
Yeah.
What they've been doing, and it's been generational. And so things like, this is a melting pot.
Yeah.
We're a nation of immigrants. You know, what do you do with these fine slogans that have done wonders? Diversity is our strength.
Or the plaque on the Statue of Liberty, and it's like, I mean, for one, like the melting pot, this play or whatever, it's like, well, that was written by someone that came, over to America during Ellis Island to like form this vision of what they wanted America to be, not what it actually was before then.
Yep.
And the same thing with the Emma Lazarus poem on the Statue of Liberty. It's like, well, that's not a governing document of America. A lot of people think it is, but it's not. Like we didn't vote on the plaque. Right. They didn't add that to the Constitution. We didn't. That's not what we are. Right. People that came decided, okay, this is what we're going to be. But we didn't. And so, I mean, I think all of it is. It really is a major fundamental question, one that has been forbidden, even in like conservative discourse. Our entire lives of just like, what is an American? Yeah. Right. Is an American potentially all 8 billion people on planet Earth? Right. If you just get them the right documents.
If the sand from the shores get between their toes and they recite the Pledge of Allegiance, poof,
bam, an American.
Instant American, just add water.
Yeah. And it's like it's a joke, but there's people that really believe that.
No, I believed that.
Yeah.
I used to believe that.
Yeah. Everybody did.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, actually. Or if it's like, well, no, we're a proposition nation. And so if they just like really believe these propositions and they really believe in the U.S. Constitution and free speech and democracy and all of the rights that we have in America, if they really believe in that stuff and in the free market and all that, then bam, that's an American.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, one, like, I mean, just going with that argument, like, how do you test that?
Yeah.
Right. How do you really believe in the propositions? Right. Do you go to, someone like Vivek Ramaswamy, right, and say, like, do you really believe in the propositions? And he's like, oh yeah. Then he lists them all off, like he crammed for the test, and he really believes in it. But then you see, like last Christmas, when people are like, hey, you have all of these unemployed young people, and you have this H-1B program that all of the entry-level jobs. Right. That's 80% of the program. That's what it goes to, is like jobs for 23-year-olds that just graduated from college, right, in the tech industry and everywhere else. Right. All of those jobs that would go to American kids are going to Indians. And people are saying, well, Trump just got elected. He needs to shut this down. Right. This is important. And what does he do? He goes on to X.com and he says, no, like it should go to Indians because Americans are lazy and stupid and they watch too much Boy Meets World and growing up, and Saved by the Bell when Indian kids were studying and it's just this obvious like ethnic preference that he's showing for his people.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I guess the propositions are right out the window when it comes to your people and what's good for them. And so it's one of those things where it's like, no, like just holding the right propositions. I mean, it's almost like this this thing that people like criticize Christian national, like this caricature they make of Christian nationalism. Like, you're only American if you're a Christian. You have to hold these things. You're going to have this Inquisition testing people whether they're really are Christians or not. Yeah. It's like, well, that like proposition nationhood is kind of the same thing. Where it's like, oh, are you going to have this Inquisition going around? Like, you really believe in the First Amendment?
Yeah.
Do you really believe in the Second Amendment? Like, well, no. That's like our whole system actually. It's not like the Constitution then created the people. Yeah. Right. It's right. We, the people of the United States, created the Constitution, and for the purpose of what? For our posterity. Yeah. Right. For our posterity. And
Vivek's not in the posterity, Andrew. I don't know if you know that.
Well,
Vivek didn't make posterity check.
I'm not like my at least my paternal family moved here in the 1870s. We weren't even, I'm not going to be in the Civil War registry. Yeah. Right. You can look up my maternal family is, but nevertheless, like, even within that, it's like, well, the posterity then gets to decide who's included. Yeah. Right. The posterity gets to decide who's included, and that posterity decided to include, well, my family. Yeah. Right? And now somebody would argue, well, they decided to allow, Vivek over here, and it's like, well,
did they?
Yeah. I mean, if you say the Warren Court's interpretation of the 14th Amendment decided he's an American, but it's like, no, the Supreme Court saying that the 14th Amendment, which when it was voted on. Right. You have the debate in Congress, in the Senate, and you can look in the register, like in the records of the congressional debate, someone asking, wait a minute, what if a foreign national comes here and has a baby, right? Would that baby automatically be an American citizen?
You're referring to the 14th Amendment as far as naturalized citizenship.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you're a foreigner, but you come over here and pop a baby out, that baby has got dual citizenship
so-called anchor babies. Right. They said in the debate, oh, of course not. Like it's treated almost as like this ludicrous assumption. Where it's like, well, of course not. No, because the clause subject to this jurisdiction thereof would preclude that. Right? Subject to the jurisdiction thereof means that foreign national is not subject to American jurisdiction. They're a guest here. Yeah. Right. They're subject to foreign jurisdiction. So that child would be a foreign citizen, not an American citizen. And like no other country or not no other country, but very few other countries have this, including India. India used to have birthright citizenship, and they changed that. Yeah. They changed it because of course it's absurd. Yeah. Right. So even if we thought, oh well, maybe if my kid's not going to be able to get a job after going to college, maybe I should have my pregnant wife give birth in Mumbai and then get Indian citizenship and get an H-1B visa to come get a job at an American corporation.
Be able to go to school. Yeah.
No, you can't do that. Not there. You can here, not there. But that's also a big issue with the H-1B visa and all of the other work visas, OPT, and all of the different programs.
We're going to dive into those and kind of go in that in great specificity. But I think the biggest thing I wanted to challenge, because I've been meditating on this stuff for a couple of years with tremendous help from you and your posting, POAST, posting. Have been aided in helping think through a lot of this stuff. What is a citizen? What does it mean to be an American? What is a nation? Yeah. What is a nation? And I think this idea that a nation is propositional is insane. Yeah. Every nation, India is made up of Indians, right? Ireland is made up of Irish people. Israel is made up of Israelis. Like every nation is its people in place. Yeah. It's a mix between the people who are there, their culture, their heritage, their God, their language, and their land. Yeah. That is what a nation is. That's what makes them who they are and what they are, and it makes them distinct. And distinction is actually good. Yeah. And this egalitarian spirit that's been, kind of brought out almost like a fog in marsh wiggle, if you will, across the land. C.S. Lewis joke for everybody. That everyone's just kind of fallen into this egalitarian.
Yeah.
Everybody's the same. All cultures are the same. All peoples are the same. And
No.
the only place that is actually trying to get pulled off is in the West. It's not happening in any other nation.
No.
The only nation that people are pouring in where we're told that diversity is our strength and that multiculturalism is good. The only place that that's happening is people moving from outside the West into the West and being propagandized into believing that diversity is our strength. We buy it, and then we're actually losing our Americanness and our Westernness.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think about it like maybe the best way to illustrate it, the way that I've thought about it is that like if my family, if we moved to India, right, for whatever reason, we moved to India and we're living there, working there, all of that, would anyone in India, like even if we got citizenship, even if we spoke the language, right? Would anyone there, fly the flag, and I mean any of the, it's hard to I don't think they really have. I mean, I guess they have an Independence Day from Great Britain, but they don't have any other like holidays that are religious, which I wouldn't participate in. But say I did that, right? And definitely like not join Hindu, not become a Hindu, remain a Christian. My children remain Christians, right? And I'm living there. Would anyone there for a second consider me an Indian?
Yeah, no, I could see him be like, they're just as Indian as VR. They're just as Indian as VR. We should treat them good.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that for a second. No way. No. And even like my children, even children that were born there, they would not consider Indian. Now, if I moved there with like 5,000 other Americans and we had a little ethnic enclave in India and we're there for 5 generations and we all just intermarry among ourselves and everything else, would anyone there consider us, even after 5 generations, would they consider us Indian? No.
You'd be distinctly different.
Yes. Yeah.
Distinctly different.
We'd have our own way of life. We'd have our own, shared history and language and culture and traditions and everything else. And so there would not be any illusion by them whatsoever. And you could do that for like any like Japan,
Chinese, Japanese,
and so, but in the West, right? And even like if you take America and say, okay, America's different, right? We just set up America off to the side for a second. But if you look at like Britain, right, the things that are being said there right now, with all of the Muslim, Pakistani immigration, all the Hindu immigration.
Had Father Calvin Robinson on to address these issues, yes.
And it's like, no, like an Englishman is something very specific.
Yeah.
Right. Like no, Calvin would be able to tell me the Indian prime minister that they had.
Yeah.
Like he's Hindu. He's not Anglican. And yes, he speaks English and he dresses like an Englishman. Except when it's Diwali, but right. But he doesn't. He's not like part of the history, right? He isn't. I mean, maybe if he has children that are married to Englishmen, and then grandchildren that are 1/4 Indian, 3/4 English, right? Then like you're slowly like your line is being integrated in with England, right? Then over time that would occur.
Yeah.
And you see that with like immigration in America, like before 1965, right? If you married someone from a foreign country and like slowly over generations, they would assimilate, they would become part of American culture, right? They would adopt it. Maybe not the first generation that much. They maybe adopt the language, but over time they would become American. That was the expectation as well. It wasn't like, no, you're going to stay Italian. You're going to stay Lithuanian or Polish or whatever. Like, no, like over time you are being absorbed by America and becoming that. And that is since 1965, that hasn't been the expectation. That in fact, like the idea of assimilation was viewed as like inherently racist. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, that's white supremacist to say that they have to assimilate.
1965 civil rights. Is that what we're?
No. It's the Immigration Act of 1965.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So after, America's immigration history is really interesting because for most of it until the late 19th century, it was very limited, right? It was mostly only limited to Western Europe.
Yeah.
And then during the Civil War, you have a large influx of people from Ireland, right? Still Western Europe, but culturally, like they're not Protestant, so they're very distinct.
Yeah.
And then you begin having immigration from Southern and from Eastern
Italy.
Europe, right? So Italian Catholics and then Eastern Europeans coming to the United States, residing, setting up kind of boroughs and cities on the East Coast and Chicago and then throughout the country. And part of the reason why there was a push for immigration, which was very controversial at the time, right? It wasn't just like everyone's like, yeah, let's do this. No, it was extremely controversial. But one of the reasons why is like, well, we're settling this entire country. We're settling the West. Like we need bodies. We need people. Yeah. And of course, like the people in Europe culturally, even despite the language dissimilarities, right? Culturally, religiously, much more compatible than just like anyone from the entire planet. But then, right, the growth of the country, the growth through immigration and everything faced enough backlash that by 1924 they said, okay, that's enough. We've got enough people. And in 1924 they have an Immigration Act which sets caps on like every country and only so many people from this country, that country, and so forth.
What year was this?
1924.
24, got it.
So basically from 1924 to 1965, like America had more or less a total immigration moratorium. And so for 40 years, I mean, and in the middle of that 40 years, you have a world war, which that's one of the things that war, I mean, war's not good, it's bad. But one of the things that it does is it forces assimilation, right? Shared purpose and so forth. And all of the newer arrivals that are there for 1, 2, 3 generations now are totally part of America. Like this is their country. They or their family have shed their blood or died for the country. Like this is they're bought in. It's theirs. But by 1965, they decide, okay, with the Hart-Celler Act, that we're going to get rid of those quotas, those caps on each country, and open the floodgates of legal immigration. And since then, we've had like tens of millions of people come into the country
from everywhere,
from all over the place, right? Not just Western Europe, but all over. And what it did is it like makes it extremely difficult when you have that quick of an influx of new people to assimilate and become part of American culture, American identity, and American life, right? No, they retain where they came from, and then you also have like ideological changes where you're said, no, it's bad to expect them to do that. We want to celebrate diversity. We want to celebrate cultural heritage, and then you have all the various different cultural heritage months and weeks and things like that. And it's like, well, no, what that does implicitly is it discounts, right, their identity as Americans, or it puts that on the back burner. No, their primary identity is as a Hispanic American, or as an African American, or as whatever identity group they are, the hyphenated thing, right? And it's like, well, no, like you really should understand yourself as an American. Like I don't walk around thinking like, oh, I'm a German American. Yeah, I'm a different kind of American than you. It's like, no, I'm an American. Yeah, right? This is my country. And so that, I mean, that's been 60 years now of massively expanded legal immigration, and it's really unprecedented in the history of the world to have this much demographic change in such a short period of time, at such a scale, and you could kind of see like the results, like New York City, like half the city is foreign born. And so what did they do? Right, they had elected a third world communist as their mayor. And people are like, well, why would that happen? How did that happen? There must be a problem with the young kids. And it's like, well, no, like they have half of the city of New York has like no connection to America before 1965.
Yeah.
Right. No connection to the history of it and no like affection for it. No, like they see like the Mayflower or the Battle of Bunker Hill or even the war between the states. They think of those things as not theirs.
Yeah.
That was all the people that came before, and they were actually kind of bad.
Racist.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, I think we laid out our case there, that a nation is a people and a place. And by a people, I mean shared culture, shared history, heritage, shared future, shared language, shared religion.
Yeah.
I think we started as a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant country. We were a WASP country and then moved into a Western European country.
Yeah.
Would be a way of describing it, I think.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, like, obviously you had this is always the objection. People are, well, what about this group and that group and that? What about the, American natives and, what about, all the African people that were brought here against their will? And, what about this group and that group? And it's like, yes, but like even there, right, the central culture, right, like Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture was the driving principle of the culture.
Yeah.
And
the ethos.
Exactly. And they adopted that.
Yeah.
Right. All of the, like you see this like in the South, right? All of the churches, like the, so-called like black churches, well, those are all Protestant
churches.
Yeah. They're not like Eastern Orthodox or something like that, or they're not mosques, right? They're Protestant churches.
Yeah.
And so they are part of it. What language are they speaking? English, right? It isn't a like totally separate subgroup that has no connection whatsoever. They are part of America, and even people that like immigrated here, or people that that get married to an American. It's like, well, yeah, you become like grafted in to a people. It isn't like static. Like this remains, perfectly hermetically sealed, and it never, like, because some people think of like nations that way, that they never change, that new people are never added to it. There never is any immigration or never any emigration, right? No, that happens, but
it's controlled. The
scale at which it happens since 1965 is massive, and it's hard to put into context or have any comparison for it. Like the closest comparison maybe is ancient Rome, when you had all like tens of thousands of Goths come down, past the Danube into Rome. But even that is like a fraction of the demographic change that America has had. And like, even if you're like, well, I don't necessarily think it's bad, but it's like, okay, but you have to have cohesion. You have to have assimilation. You have to have people that then, if they come, they need to understand themselves as Americans and what that means. They don't get to recreate what it means to be an American now that they're here, right? They don't get to show up and say, okay, this is what I think an American should be, right? Like Vivek Ramaswamy, for instance. I think an American should be this. It's like, no, like, you're in our country now.
Yeah.
You should behave like an American does. Like, I'm not going to go to a foreign country, to Japan or to India, and then demand, right, you need to accommodate me. You need to live like I do.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you need to speak my language. You need to put all the government documents in English so I can read them. Like, no, that's insane to expect that. And that would, no one should do that. But here, like, we do, because we've had such massive shift. And so then it becomes like really hard to even to be able to like communicate, right? Not even just in terms of language, but in terms of shared culture. Right, where we like talk about Thanksgiving or Christmas or the 4th of July, or like the things that we share. Like, when you and I talk about like the 4th of July, right? We don't even, there's so many things we don't even have to say that are just expected. Well, yeah, there's gonna be fireworks. Yeah, there's gonna be hot dogs. And burgers, and we're definitely gonna play Toby Keith and like that kind of stuff, right? Or in terms of Christmas or Thanksgiving, like it's like, okay, well, how are you gonna cook your turkey? Like, it's not even a question of whether there's gonna be a turkey or not. So, like, you're gonna deep fry it or you're gonna smoke it, right? But like other people's, like, they don't share those things, right? They can slowly assimilate to it and adopt it, but those things take a long time. Plus, like if you have these massive ethnic enclaves of people from the same country, right? They're going to like in Minneapolis, right? There's entire neighborhoods that are just Somali, right? And if everything keeps is the way it is right now, 100 years from now, it will remain that way. Like and
it will grow.
They have no incentive. Oh yeah, to like now become American, like get rid of Islam and become Christian, or to adopt all the aspects of American culture. Like no, they're not going to.
If you're running a ministry or you own a business, my guess is that you've been thinking about starting a podcast for a while now, but for various reasons, it hasn't happened yet. Send me an email. I need to personally connect you with Yonder Child Media. They built this studio in 2 days and tackle all of the production. I just come in, start talking, and leave. It's that easy. They do everything else. Whether you want to record at your business or a home office like they just built for me, you come in, start talking, and Yonder Child will do everything else. Send me an email. That's going to be Bryan, Bryan.Dawson, Dawson at 1819news.com, and I'd be happy to personally connect you. The great line in Death of the West, I mean, I remember it from 15 years ago whenever I picked up the book. Immigration without assimilation is invasion.
Yes.
And when we allow hordes of people to come over from nations that are naturally hostile to Western civilization, and they come over en masse without any recommendation, much less enforcement of assimilation, that it is a form of invasion. And they are here, and they are all from religions of conquest, because all religions are religions of conquest, even Christianity, but we've lost our sense of conquest because of dispensationalism. I'll have you back on maybe some other time to talk about that. These people are coming over here for to either loot or to conquer, like those, to kind of parasitically leech off of our nation or to conquer our nation. That is what is happening. And so someone who was very in tune with everything that you've said when you were talking about the Boniface option, your book, when you've talked about, what is a nation, what is a citizen, what does it mean to be an American, H-1Bs, all this other stuff, the person who has probably became the leading voice in this thing. And you talked, you have Senator Eric Schmidt, Tuberville's very keen on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But the one person who has really been out there, Tucker's certainly been at the forefront, but Charlie was the one talking to the disaffected youth, specifically the disaffected white men, young white men, who are the ones who've been harmed by all of this, like more than anybody. And I forget exactly where it was posted, but it was a tweet, I think shortly before he passed. Oops, wrong one.
Yeah, it might have been August of this last year. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have the date on it, but it was not long before he died, and it said, "This is the social compact breaking down," and it's got a graph where it says estimated percent of 30-year-olds who are both married and homeowners, and the graph is just completely plummeted. And that's part of the 3 M's, right? The three M's, or Rich Lusk puts it a certain way. I'll give Pastor Rich credit on this one. Marriage, multiplying, right? Which is children, marriage, multiplying, and mortgages. Yeah. Those are the 3 M's of a healthy, nation, and people who do those things usually end up becoming conservative, by the way. When you get married, when you multiply and have children, and when you get a mortgage, that roots you into a place. And this graph is just tanking. He said, "This is the social compact breaking down. We need urgency to restore it." And he lists his 6 primary objectives. And so we're going to finish. It's going to take us longer than the top of the hour on this, which is fine. Hopefully Adrian will tell me if it's not fine. He can just leave it on record and come back. But mass deportations, stop the H-1B scam, dramatically reduce legal immigration, end chain migration and the visa lottery, build 10 million homes for Americans, crush the college cartel. That was his dying manifesto, if you will. He didn't know he was going to die, but that was. And again, I'm very big on the Kirk versus Keller. Right. So Charlie Kirk's dying manifesto was for all Americans who can benefit from this. Tim Keller's dying manifesto, I think, was the future of the church is gays and minorities. And so just a little bit different point of view. And again, one brought us revival, the other brought us the woke church. Choose wisely. And so let's go through those. I have been blown away by It's not enough. So first I'm going to say it's not enough. Full stop. However, I never thought I would see the day where there's ICE agents out in these major cities, like tear gassing crowds of people and cuffing them and throwing them into cars and taking them all. Like, I never thought I would see that. So there's a part of me that's like, well, wow, we made it, here. But the number, like you don't know how many people 30 million people is. You can't wrap your mind around how many people 30 million people is. And that's how many have to go at least. Yeah, that's a conservative estimate.
Like what's the biggest football stadium in Alabama?
100,000 people at Bryant-Denny.
Yeah, so you got to fill that thing up 10 times just to get to 1 million.
So and if 30, 10 times, 300 times.
Yeah, like that is it's hard to quantify. It's hard to imagine. I mean, even like today, as we're recording this, big operation in Charlotte, and like someone posted the traffic, which I mean, Charlotte traffic. I mean, I just drove through Nashville to get here. It's very bad. Very bad traffic.
You made it on time. I'm so proud of you.
I made it. I had to leave really early.
Yeah.
Charlotte's even worse to drive through. And they showed rush hour like 8 in the morning, all green. Every one of the freeways completely green because a major ICE operation is going on. So like it tells you, whoa, this is nuts. And I think they said there's was there like 900,000 people in Charlotte or 600,000, and there's like 180,000 foreign-born people in Charlotte. Many of whom are illegal immigrants. And so like you just think about that, like mass deportations. Like you see this. I mean, there's always this discussion of like housing prices and how bad they are, and they are, right? Like the median home price in the United States is like $400,000, which is insane. Right. That it's that high for like the average home.
Yeah. With a 6% mortgage or 7% mortgage, you're looking at like $2,200 a month.
I'm like, more. I'm not that old, but I remember when like a really nice house was like under $200,000.
175 is what I was going to say.
Like, whoa, I can't, someday maybe I'll make enough money to buy that house. And it's like, now you need to make like $300K a year to afford that. And so anyway, like, well, what causes that? Like some of it is like just like the most basic economics.
Supply and demand.
Right. Well, there's a lot of demand for housing. And like, well, illegal immigrants are not living in the median house. And it's like, yes, that's true. But you reduce demand by 300 million, even for like the housing that's on the lower end.
Yeah.
That will push demand down across the entire supply.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the most basic, obvious thing. Like you take 300 people, 30 million people, or whatever it is. Like they say, oh, it's only 14. No,
it's at least 30.
Yeah, like one. Like how do they know? Like, do they have a little clicker on the border when they cross? Like, there's another illegal. Oh, another one. Like,
I could tackle them and bring them back, but instead I'll just click.
Just click the clicker. Like, no, they don't know.
It's the lady at Costco.
Yeah, like, that's right. That's right. Like, they don't know. They have no way of knowing. Like, the only thing you could maybe do is, like, make estimates based on, like, the consumption of food and different, like, surveys and things. Like, you could do that. But even that, like if you survey, are you an illegal immigrant? Or what are they going to say on the, yeah, I am. No. So anyway, like there's no way of knowing. And how many are estimated that came in under Biden was what, like 10 million, 15 million. These are like very conservative estimates. I mean, for 4 years, the border was completely open. They just let everyone in. So you're going to tell me that like one, they know exactly how many are here. And two, whatever number they tell us is definitely correct. Like, no way.
Government's really honest, Andrew.
Very honest. So that's like my like impulse is, okay, they say it's 14 million. Yeah, we should like multiply it by 2 at a minimum. And so like you reduce that many, right? 15 to 30. Well, that's like 10% of the country. Yeah. So, right, there should be like some downward pressure on demand, and that would alleviate a lot of the concerns. But then it isn't even just like housing. It's also like food. Like we just had the shutdown and the scare over EBT and SNAP, and you discover, oh wow, right? If they have back to like the 14th Amendment and anchor babies and stuff like that. It's like if they have a child in America that's an American citizen, until we get the Supreme Court to rule on the 14th Amendment again, right? That now they qualify for all the different programs. And so that's how you're able to have all of these households that are illegally in the country qualifying for EBT and SNAP and Medicaid and everything else. And so, right, you alleviate that. And then, right, the all of the consumption of those things should go down, which would reduce prices of groceries and everything else. Right. So like just very basic economics, like mass deportations solves not everything, right? Because like one of our problems is all the money that gets spent by the government and printed that then ends up in the money supply, and the price of everything goes up. But part of the reason they're printing all the money is to pay for the people they brought here that should not be here. So mass deportations helps alleviate a lot of that. That's why, like, the big fight over the spending bill earlier in the year, where it's like, we're adding like $3 trillion to the debt. And it's like, but if we fully fund ICE, it probably pays for itself.
Yeah.
like I'll take that.
Yeah.
Right. It's the debt is only going one way right now anyway. Plus, like why is it that way?
Yeah.
Right. We have voted ourselves into this because people will vote for free stuff. And especially if like you came here to America to loot the place. Yeah. Right. And then you get to vote. Well, that's what you're going to vote for. Yeah. Right. You're not going to vote to, reduce the tax burden on everyone else.
We're going to get Trump's team to hire you as their Spock's, their spokesperson.
No, I'd
go out. And
I would get him in so much trouble.
This is why Andrew Isker says that you need the big, beautiful bill.
That's right.
That'll be good. So point number 2, we're moving along. We're making progress. Point number 2, and this one I think is the biggest one that Vivek did what he did, and I watched him just get excoriated. Yeah. And I had no idea the animus that existed. And like Indians are the most pretend to be patriot, ones that with the flags and like,
you've seen the picture of him in like the Texas shirt.
Yeah, exactly. The cowboy. And so they do the best, pretending to be patriotic and everything out of all the groups. And I'd never really looked that much into it. And you were posting stuff about like the records where it's like, why, they're over here to make missiles. That's the most recent thing Trump said, which again, when he's running for office, he has his ear to the ground. Yeah. He's got his finger on the pulse of the American people and their needs. And he knows exactly what they need. And he promises to give it to them. But once he gets in office, he kind of goes into the inner, sanctum sanctorium of the White House and has advisors that come in and advise him. And I think his advisors get hijacked, and then they bring him bad information, and his ear's no longer to the ground. Yeah,
he should just only listen to Stephen Miller. That's what he should do.
Stephen Miller, 100%. And he says things like, we actually, Americans want 600,000 more Chinese students here to go to the universities. No. We need to make missiles, so we need H-1Bs. And it's like, do we make missiles at hotels and 7-Elevens? Yeah, because that's where they're all working. Yeah. They own hotels and gas stations. I didn't know we made missiles there. I didn't know we were going to the moon from Quick Trip.
Plus, like, the other thing is like the defense industry. Yeah. Like, they're not allowed to work there. Yeah. You're not allowed to employ foreigners at all. Yeah. And not only that, like anyone who's working in the defense industry, like gets interviewed and it's like, when was the last time you left the country? And they like, did you talk to anyone from a foreign country?
Elon Musk has problems working in that industry because he's,
Yeah.
So it's like.
Yeah. And so it's like, no, like that's not actually like, and I get like, okay, some of it I think is related to geopolitics where you have to make deals with India, you have to make deals with China. And in order to negotiate for like the rare earth minerals that they were withholding from the United States, because there's a trade war and they're fighting these things out. And probably one of the pieces of leverage that Xi Jinping pulled was, nope, you got to keep.
I need to keep sending spies to your university.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when I was in college, that was like my assumption. Like the foreign students, especially like the Chinese students, I'm just like, Yeah, these are all spies.
Yeah, the Confucius Institute.
Yeah,
I'm sure this is legit.
Like I had a professor who is Chinese, is Chinese national, and the entire time I'm like asking him questions to try to like get him to criticize the Chinese government, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do it. And I'm like, that's a spy. That's a spy.
There's a school over in China that's called like the something, the Chinese something Center of Diplomacy or Institute of Diplomacy or whatever, and that's where like Fang went. It's where Feinstein's driver went. And there was a gal running around Alabama who was a graduate of that illustrious institution and hanging out with some of our government officials. But I won't go into that.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm sure it's a total coincidence.
Yeah, the Chinese would never do that. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing too. Like, you have these students coming here, and then. I mean, it'd be one thing. I mean, it's bad enough if they, develop a network and connections and things in the United States, and do spying that way for 4 years or 6 years, however long they're in school here. But then, like, they stay here.
Yeah.
Right. Then there's a pathway for them to get employment in the United States, and like it's the biggest open secret in the world is like the entire tech industry. That is like Chinese people stealing patents, stealing everything, and then just sending it back to China. Like the J2 fighter is like a carbon copy of the F-35.
Yeah.
It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Fang and all of her friends talked to the right
Swalwell.
People. Right. Yeah. Talked to, took the nerdy engineer from Lockheed out on a date. It's like, tell me about this thing.
Gave him the James O'Keefe without publication.
That's right. And it's like, that's what they did. Right. Yeah. And that's what we constantly do. Even like the AI war or whatever. It's interesting. Like the Chinese, right? They don't need 1 million Indian engineers to like develop AI. Weird. Right. Yeah. Weird. We need it, but they don't. But yeah, that's a huge part of it. Even like in 2016, Trump ran on this, right? He talked about the big scandal where like Disney, they brought in all of these Indian visa workers and had the employees they were laying off train all of them, and they said, "We'll give you a very generous severance package, but you have to stay and train your replacement."
Yeah,
and I mean, imagine the humiliation of that. Number one, you've been working at this company for 20 years. And
my dad had to do that.
Yeah,
I've told that story 100 times.
It's sick. It's
my dad
so disgusting.
Worked at Cessna for 20 years. I'll shorten the story because my audience has heard me tell it 20 times. But yeah, he was a floor engineer, and at Cessna, he'd been there for 20 some odd years, was 2 years away from retirement. And 2007, 2008 hit, and they brought in all these East Indians on these, H-1Bs or the like. I don't know exactly what visas, but something like that.
Yeah.
My dad had to train them all, and when my dad was done training them, they let him go.
Yeah. And it's like consistently this is what's done. And that's on like the higher end, right? That's on like an experienced engineer. But most, like I said earlier, like most of the jobs are like entry level stuff, or even like around Christmas time last year, it's all like public records. You can look up all the H-1Bs, and it's places like 7-Eleven. It's like hotels, it's things like that. And even like the hotel and gas station thing is also infuriating because they qualify because of our civil rights laws and things like that, because they're a minority. Yeah. They qualify for loans that every other American does not have access to.
Yeah.
So what do? They buy up all these like gas stations in like rural areas, right? That's why you go to like, random spot in Alabama, right? In the middle of nowhere. And it's like, whoa, here's a guy from the literal other side of the planet. Yeah. Who working at the convenience store.
Barely any English.
Yeah. And it's like, that's why, why the Apu from the Quickie Mart thing in The Simpsons, like it's the stereotype. Well, it's because like there's a system built specifically for them to get loans that are forgiven,
or it was
like
a
free
system
money
that they figured out how to manipulate. Which
That's right.
Is exactly when these guys come over, and that's what like they're systems manipulators to the max.
Yeah,
because they don't have the same, like we would never go manipulate the systems like that because like it would feel dirty, but they don't have that same reservation.
Yeah, it's a third world country that is very low trust. Like before, like discussing like the Somali scams and things like that. It's like it's low trust. Nobody trusts anybody. Everyone is expecting everybody else to scam each other. And you have a high trust place where you have these systems in place where it's like, oh, well, we actually like right? Say whatever you will about whether we should have a program like that or not, but it's like, okay, we want to have the Small Business Administration give out these loans to like poor black folks that don't have a lot of money and they don't have access to large capital networks or whatever, so they can build a small business. And it seems like a very good-natured program where we're going to try to do a lot of good with this. Well, the way it's used is to just scam it,
sure,
right? Just to get and the other thing they do is then the 5 years are up. And then they sell it to their cousin, and then it gets re-upped every 5 years, and so it's just perpetually owned. And it's like that kind of system. And the same thing with the Patels. Like it's this family that owns all of the hotels. It's funny because it rhymes. The Patel Hotel Cartel.
Yeah.
Right. All of these hotels and motels around the country just got bought up everywhere, and like that's how it was done through the SBA, and like that, and the banks love giving these loans because, well, they're guaranteed by the government.
Yeah.
So they're never going to default. The banks are never going to lose money. So who wants to keep the SBA program going? Well, the big money in the banks want to keep that going. And so all of these things are built to basically like screw Americans.
Yeah.
Right.
Real Americans.
Yeah. And to give it to people from the other side of the planet. Right. That it should infuriate most people that
it's pissing me off as we're talking.
Yeah.
I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
Because that's why I wanted to bring you on. Is like I can hit the high level points, but you can drill down on every one of these. And the biggest point I want to make is the point that pisses me off more than any other point is exactly what Vivek said. And I can't tell you how many people, when I bring this up, business owners, even in America, good Christian people whom I love, they're like, well, white people have gotten lazy. We don't work. And it's like, no. We had jobs at textile mills and factories and coal mines and everything else, and people worked, and it wasn't the sexiest work on the planet, but they worked and they had dignity and they provided for their family. They weren't on government assistance. They worked their tails off and they had dignity and they taught their children how to work and love God and live honorable lives and the same. And that was the social fabric. And then comes free trade and the idea of deindustrializing the entire nation and shipping all of our manufacturing jobs overseas and promising these people that lost their jobs, tech jobs. Yeah. And then when the tech jobs came, they brought in people from third world crap holes to fill those jobs. Yeah. And then when those people whose dignity was robbed from them because they deindustrialized the nation and shipped their jobs overseas, when that person is now eating processed foods and on food stamps and shooting heroin and playing video games or on some type of pharmaceutical drug, which is what's happened in Appalachia, you want to criticize that person. Should that person not be doing those things? 100%. They shouldn't. They shouldn't be on drugs. They shouldn't be doing that. They should figure out some other way. Yeah. But when the government comes and moves in and does that, and the economy, basically these corporations are allowed to do that by the government to ship jobs overseas and basically create a global economy rather than an economy that serves the people in that nation and its citizens. When that happens, there's going to be fallout, and that fallout is the responsibility of the people who made those decisions. Yeah. And the one people that you can just forget about is the white middle class. Like they're just whatever. Yeah, the middle class and the working class. Like they're nobody cares about them. Like that's like even back to, because I think about that interchange, that Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson all the time. So good. Where it's like, okay, if we imagine we have AI trucks, right? And now the trucks can all drive themselves, which, again, like the trucking industry and all of the that's another issue. But we need to go to that after this. Yeah. But it's going to be a Joe Rogan 3 hours. Yeah, I know. But you have this thing where he's like, well, no, I wouldn't want that, because the number one job for a non-college educated man in America, at least at the time of that was recorded like 6 or 7 years ago, is a semi driver. That's what my dad did. That's what my brother does. He had a trucking business for many years, really till the early 2000s, and that's what he did his whole life. And it was a good, he was like a blue collar guy. Like he worked on the trucks himself. He worked really hard, long hours, but it provided a good income for our family. My mom was able to stay with us when we were little, and it was a good life. We didn't have a lot, but we had a great life growing up. And
what you would do is you introduce that thing and you take all of those people and throw them out of work and say, well, figure it out. Well, if we look at it in the aggregate, right, the GDP will go up and we'll all have more wealth. But like those people, a massive chunk of America now is completely out of work. And that's what we did with like the coal industry, right? They said, oh, well, the planet Earth is the globe is warming and so we need to not use coal anymore. So sorry, all of you miners in West Virginia, you're going to have to learn to code.
Yeah.
Oh, and then guess what? You just learned to code. Now
bringing Raj Patel to code.
Yeah, and now you've lost that job.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, yeah, you made like these marginal increases to productivity, but you do it at the cost of your own people.
Yeah.
Right. Now they don't have jobs. And even now, as we enter the age where, okay, maybe AI is really going to be a thing and very disruptive to the economy and take away all of these jobs. And the solution by the technocrats is like, oh, we'll just have UBI.
Yeah, universal basic income.
Yeah, we'll just pay people to do nothing because we'll have
Wasn't
such a productive
there a cartoon
economy.
about that? Was it Wall-E?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, like human beings are supposed to work.
Yes. If you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah, like you
That's
need
what
something
we've
in your
done.
life. Yeah. For like half the country is on functionally like UBI.
Yeah.
Right, where like nobody works. And it's not good.
Kills your soul.
Like you look at that segment of the country that is not in employment and not working, not in education or whatever. They like all of the social problems there, right? All of the drug use, all of the illegitimate children, all of the crime, right? It's because like you're not able to lead a productive life. You're not doing what God made you to do, to have a purpose in your life, to be doing something. And we want to just eradicate all of that. And we think, well, everyone will just become poets and artists and everything else. And it's like, well, no, like for one, like AI, I guess, is going to do all of that anyway.
Yeah.
So now you have human beings that are completely purposeless.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's not going to be good. But we can't get rid of this idea. We need to, that humanity exists for the GDP.
Yeah.
Right. That GDP is God.
Yes.
We must worship the increase in GDP. And I look at it and I'm like, all right, people like argue with me about this. They're like, no, this is not possible. Well, for one thing, like GDP is kind of fake.
And gay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Fake and gay.
But it's not a great, like all the inputs of it and everything, like some of it's not even real. And so imagine a scenario where the GDP goes down or it stays flat, right? It doesn't increase always year over year over year. But median incomes have gone up because this is what has happened. Like median incomes have mostly adjusted for inflation, stayed more or less flat. They haven't really changed. But productivity overall has gone up and up and up and up and up, right? You should see those lines more or less be parallel.
Yeah.
Right. You're more productive, people make more money. Well, the economy has gotten way more productive. People make about the same money they always have.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's like an indication your system is very unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so, right. Well, why is it unhealthy? Partly because all of the people in power, right? The thing they're concerned with, right? The big corporations and everything, they want to push down labor costs, right? Because that eats into shareholder value. That eats into the money they make on everything. If we don't pay people very well, or if we can pay them as little as we possibly can and make as much stuff as we possibly can, make as much money as we possibly can, that's good for us.
Yeah.
And when you do that, right, your society suffers greatly. And we could see that. We could see why young men, why, Mike Johnson talks about them the way he does, that, right, they fail to launch. Well, is it because there's something deficient in them? Did something happen to American society where all our young men are just losers? Well, no, they want to succeed. They want to work hard. They want to make money. They want to have families. Why can't they? It's because they've been shut out, right? They're systematically discriminated against, right? You look at like Wall Street, right? There was I think it was a Forbes this infographic that goes around all the time. And some of the numbers, it's like, I don't really know. But even taking it on face value, it's like, we decided that we weren't going to hire white men anymore.
Yeah.
And so we hired all, like women and people of color and all these different things. And it's like
Indian lesbians.
But it's like, well, the majority of the workforce though is still like white men. So that means you are like actively discriminating against this group.
Yeah.
Right. And it's you're allowed to do that. It's good.
Yeah.
And not only allowed, like it's seen as a virtuous thing.
Encouraged,
Yeah. And it's like, well, why aren't they succeeding? Why aren't they growing? Why did they vote for Trump like they did? Because they want something to change, right? They want their lives to be good. And they don't want a handout. They don't want Mom Donnie to get, guys like him to be elected and just give them free stuff. They don't want UBI, right? They want to do something with their lives, right? They don't want to end up like, these losers that shot at President Trump or killed Charlie Kirk. Like they don't want to, have a furry boyfriend. Right. Yeah. Like these guys, like they don't want that. They want to like marry a woman and have children with her
and buy a house
and have a house to raise them in.
Yeah.
Right. Really normal, simple things. Right. You see, like you go to, college campuses and you see the kids, at like the football games, or even you watch SEC football and you see the young guys and it's like, man, like they got their whole lives ahead of them. It's going to be great. But it's like, actually like, it doesn't look good for them.
Yeah.
Right. It's a nightmare for them after this. Like, no, they're not going to own 2 car dealerships in Decatur, Alabama, and have a membership at the golf club. Like they maybe are going to be lucky to get an entry level job.
Yeah.
And it looks really bleak for them. But things have to change, or else we're going to get Mom Donnies.
Yeah.
Right, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and Tucker called that 7 years ago in his book Ship of Fools. He literally called Ron Donnie like almost just shy of by name. He predicted that this was going to happen. I think I want to zero in on the GDP thing and touch 2 more issues: legal immigration versus illegal, and then I want to talk about the trucking. Because I think that's just a big deal. But you said something about the GDP, and this is what I really talked. My first conversation that I touched on with Tucker is this idea. He said, look, capitalism is a good system, but it's not God.
Yeah.
It's a good system, but it's not God. And when if we have more religious orthodoxy towards an economic system than we do Christ, that can't be good.
Yeah.
And we've all been inundated and marinated and propagandized by billions and billions and billions of dollars that went into neoconservative think tanks and libertarian think tanks, pumping out all this, like, again, not horrible economic theory, but like to the point that it became religious.
Yeah.
Right. And the entire Republican platform was gobbled up by neoconservatism, which was like, well, homosexuality and abortion aren't winning issues. What we need to talk about is free markets and limited government.
Yeah.
Those are the big things, right? Big tent republicanisms. Gay people can vote. We need to let them be part of our party. And so it was just this whole thing where we were gobbled up by neoconservatism, and this idea, neoconservatism is to me the not, what do you call it? You have identical twins and you have fraternal twins. Is that right?
Yeah.
Libertarianism and neoconservatism are fraternal twins.
Yeah.
They're the same thing, but they're different. They're not identical, but it's the same idea, right? It's the same thing where everything is about profits and everything is about markets and everything is, and the only difference between those two is their theory of war, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, but their economic philosophy is problematic. If the market governs everything, who is God? Well, the market is God. And if we're worshiping at the marketplace, then we're going to make decisions that displace citizens for Wall Street and the GDP. And that's exactly what we've done. We've continued to do it. We've continued to make decisions. And it's like, well, hey, I'm a capitalist. I like to make money. I'm a capitalist. And everybody, it's like the pardoned, sin of oh, he's a capitalist and someone's making money. It's okay that they're doing heroin now.
Yeah.
Capitalist, right? And they got this thing, and it's like there's no responsibility. And the whole point of being a ruler is being wise. And we've lost this.
Yeah.
In our culture, in our society, we hate the idea of authority. We hate the idea of power. And so when people get into positions of power, they just want to default to a system, and then whatever consequences happen to that system, whether it's a good system, bad system, or whatever, well, I just made principled decisions based off of this system.
Yeah.
Rather than saying like, no, I am a ruler of this nation. I have been elected by the people. a President Trump, I need to make decisions that are good for these people.
That's right.
Not that are according to this system.
Yeah.
Like, I am the one who's in charge right now.
Yeah.
There's all this stuff going on. I'm looking at my people and I have to make a decision. And that's what wisdom is. And that's what ruling is.
Yeah.
Is making a decision that's actually good for my people based off of everything that's going on. And it might go against what Milton Friedman said. I'm sorry. Right? That might happen. But that's anathema to people.
Oh, it totally is. And I look at it like this, like, I talk about it in the book too, like there's the idea of noblesse oblige, right? That those at the top have a duty and a responsibility to their people. And I think about it this way, where it's like, okay, if I've got two buttons in front of me, right? One says, right, you're going to be a millionaire, right? You're going to lack for nothing.
Nice
right?
button.
Everything is going to be great. And your people all get to have good lives, right? They have to work hard to have good lives, but they'll have good lives. They'll have good incomes. Most of your people will have pretty good lives. Right? I can press that button, or I can press a button that says, you're going to have $50 billion. You're right. You're not only going to have you're going to have so much money. You're not even going to know what to do with all of it. But most of your people will be in abject poverty.
Yeah.
Right. Like, which button are you going to press?
Yeah, you got to press the first one every time.
Right. Yeah. But what do our rulers do? They press the second one
They're
smashing
and over.
Yeah. It's like billions. Right. That is what they want. Right. And
What
that's
did
the
you say?
system
You said
they've made.
noblesse oblige?
Noblesse oblige. Yeah. It's a highfalutin, French term.
Brian
that's
Silver
right.
would like it.
That's right. That's right. But that is there is. And it's a very Christian thing, right? That if you are blessed, right? If God has put you in a position of great authority and great power, it's not just for your own good. It's not just for you to maximize your own wealth and your own influence and your own power. It's to bless your people. It's to use that for your people.
Wisely.
Yes.
Which is what, we could go, gosh, you and I could go for hours, man. But it's no different than a father.
Yes.
A father has a response. So a father is the head of his household. He rules over his household. His wife is required to submit, and his children are required, and the children are required to obey parents.
That's right.
So wife submits to husband, children obey parents. And the man is at the top of that. Yeah. And what comes with that authority is the responsibility to behave and make decisions that benefit everyone in that household. And the fruit of your rule will be known by your wife and your children.
That's right.
When you look at a man's wife and children, if his wife looks like a hostage and his children are a-holes, he's not using his rule very well. He's probably abdicating. Yeah. If he's a tyrant and he's using his authority that he's been given for his own personal gain and gratification, right? That's what our political rulers are doing. But you can see that in that same thing. He has a right and a responsibility to use that authority in a way that benefits those who are under their care. And it's no different to our political rulers that God has blessed and put in those positions. Yeah. And when they abdicate and abuse that authority, that's what we get.
Yeah, you get slaves.
Yeah.
Right. That's what, like someone who has, like, all the responsibility then is on the people.
Yeah.
None of it's on the people in authority. And if you have responsibility without any authority, that is by definition a slave.
And one of the things I just want to bring up, and we'll see if anybody even makes it this far into the podcast, I'll know because they'll talk about the Lion King. And so the book of Proverbs, okay, and you know this, you're a new St. Andrews guy, okay, and the book of Proverbs is called, the proverb is a mashal, which is a wise saying for a king. Yeah. And the book of Proverbs is a book from a king basically teaching his son how to rule.
That's right.
And if you think of the Lion King, okay, follow me.
That's right.
Mufasa takes Simba. What does he do? Yeah. And he takes him all around the kingdom and he says, don't go over there. Yeah. This eats that. That eats this. And this is the circle of life. And this is how God made things. That's right. And it's your job to see to it that it stays this way. Yeah. Yeah. And when you lose that, you get the hyenas and Scar.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the perfect metaphor. Like it's like they took the idea of Proverbs and put it into a Disney cartoon.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. The Proverbs is a king teaching his son who's going to be a king how to rule. That's right. And we're prophets, priests, and kings in our own homes. That's and we need to be teaching our sons how to rule well. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so that we are Mufasa, we're not Scar.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And what our rulers have done, they've created a system like the ladder. Yeah. That it the hyenas. That
H1B hyenas.
We are going to extract as much wealth as we can out of every single little thing. It reminds me also of I mean, this is kind of when my departure from, like libertarianism happened, pondering this, somewhat apocryphal story, but like you had these two Austrian economists, one was Ludwig von Mises and the other one, I can't even think of it right now. Someone, in the comments will tell me, why it's escaping my brain right now. They're walking and they see this, beautiful vegetable garden. And like Mises is like, well, that's a very inefficient way to produce, produce and vegetables. And the other economist says that it's true, but it's a very efficient way to produce human happiness.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's so much of whether it's libertarian economic theory or neoconservative political theory, right? All of it is ultimately like revolutionary.
Yeah.
And it's sort of anti-human.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take into account the way that God made human beings to actually be. That human beings come from a place, they come from a people, they're from a family. They have a particular way of life, even within that family, much less the broader culture that they're a part of, the nation that they're a part of. And we take human beings within those systems and make them into just fungible economic units, right? Economic producer, and we can drop them here or in Vietnam or in sub-Saharan Africa and vice versa, like just interchange them wherever. And it's like, okay, boom, he's going to produce X amount. And it's like, well, no, human beings aren't that way at all. Right, human beings actually have a connection to places, right? Even like our own country, right? So many people, it's so radically different than like how humanity has always lived, where it's like the standard median kind of thing for most people is you grow up in your town, your city, wherever, and then you go to college, somewhere away from there, and then you get a job anywhere in the country. And you're completely cut off by maybe thousands of miles from your family, your extended family, the place that you grow up and you know and you love. And then you just bounce around the country the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's actually abnormal. Like that isn't the way, like, and it's not good for you. Like some of the question of like, why are birth rates down so much? And there's a lot of answers to that. One of them, not the primary one, but a big one is, well, if you don't live near your parents, you don't have somebody to babysit for you. So you got to pay a ton of money to have somebody babysit for you. Yeah. And so like you just stop having kids after one or two. Yeah. Right. You can't have a big family because like if with my 6 kids, if I try to get a babysitter, it's going to cost me like $500 to go on a date. Yeah. Right. And so like people stop having kids. Even things like car seats, right? Because of car seats, right? That has played a role in like the reduction of birth rates because right? It take up so much space, and you have to be like me with a 12-passenger van.
I got the 15-passenger
in order to have a large family. Yeah. And it's like it's like $70,000 van. Yeah. Right. And it, before that, before all of the rules and regulations and everything, right? You had large families. My mom came from a family of 8 kids. Right. They did not have a 12-passenger van. Yeah. Right. They had a station wagon. They threw everybody in. Right. Yeah. And it's like, and the state trooper didn't pull them over and say, what's going on back there? Right. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's dangerous. Like vehicles were way more dangerous back then, but we had way higher birth rates. We had way more families. We had, it wasn't as expensive to have as many children as it is now. So that's a major reason why. And part of it is like, well, we don't need to have kids. We can just replace them with workers from the third world. Correct. It doesn't matter if you have children or not.
And one of the reasons that we have a labor force deficit, we've covered many, but it is natalism on our part. We haven't been having enough children. On that topic, I think if you're looking at it from a displaced just observation standpoint, all the reasons you said that are causing people to not have children, but I do think culturally, there's the practical aspect that you just described, but there's also the Malthusian ethic that just ran through my parents and their parents. A boy for me, a girl for you. Praise the Lord, thank God we're through. Yeah, it's kind of the motto. And if you have more than 2 kids, you're actually committing the most heinous sin known to man, as having 3 children.
And you're weird.
Yeah, and
you're really weird.
I have found, and again, you're going to have to, whoever's listening to this is going to have to trust God in their own way. But we all of the factors that you just said were stacked up against me, and I have 6 felonies. Okay, I for a long time I had more felonies than children, but I broke that. I have 7 children now, and only 6 felonies. Only 6 felonies.
So you've got time to catch up.
I need to get those felonies up. All of those factors were stacked against me. There was no chance I was going to be able to make enough money. There was no chance I was going to be able to do that. All of those factors. But I knew God and his word said that I'm supposed to be fruitful. Yeah. And so I obeyed, and God has marvelously provided for me in ways beyond comprehension because I was faithful. Yeah. And so I think we can look at all those factors, but somewhere, some man is going to have to say, I understand all those factors, but at the end of the day, the Lord has called me to be faithful. My wife needs to come home, which means I'm going to have to work harder, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever it takes. Yeah. And there's something about when the burden of provision is placed on the shoulders of a man where it belongs, and he has a wife who's in the home who's doing her job, and he feels the weight of provision that's on his shoulders. It like turns him into a man. It gives him gravitas, and he goes out and takes risks and pushes his family forward.
And it just happens. Yeah, it's like, well, sink or swim. It's got to get done. Yeah, and like men are built for that. Yeah, right. The pressure's on. It's got to happen. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we are now.
Do we get to all 6 of them?
Yeah, no, we didn't, and we didn't even get to talk about the Indians and everybody else wearing their turbans, driving in interstates, crushing and killing people left and right. I mean, there's so much to talk about. This is such a big subject. Yeah, legal immigration versus illegal. Like, if you had a bunch of people from Scandinavia crossing the border fence, is that worse than people who hate Western civilization coming in legally? Yeah,
well, exactly. Like, well, and not only that, like. I mean, that has been like the GOP talking point for like my entire life. Oh, no, we're against illegal immigration, but we are for legal immigration. And it's like, well, actually, like illegal immigration is, it's pretty easily solved. Yeah. Right? It's hard. Yeah. Right? We're seeing how hard it is. Yeah. Right. The deportation numbers is like 600,000. Yeah. When it should be like
only 29,600,000 more.
Yeah. Yeah. It needs to be way higher than that. Yeah. But like you can actually do something about it very easily. Whereas like legal immigration, you bring in, 120,000 Somalis or 200,000 Somalis to Minnesota and Maine and all these different places. You bring in millions of H-1B workers, and then they bring their spouses in, and then all of a sudden they have a kid, and now, well, we can't send them back because there's an American citizen that's 6 months old in their crib.
Now we got to pay their bills.
And now they're here and they can never go. And all sorts of things like that. Student visas, like 2 students have a kid. Like they manipulate the anchor baby law, right? Birthright citizenship. And so now they can overstay the visa, but they'll never be deported because then like CNN's going to do a story. This guy's been here for 30 years and has children here that are American citizens, and you can't deport him. And so, legal immigration is way more difficult, partly because of like the rhetorical issue, where it's like, oh, you only want white people. You're a racist, and it's like, well, no, that's not it at all. It's like I see what happened in New York City. Yeah. Right. That is happening. Like, why is Ilhan Omar in Congress? Yeah. Right. Because we have 80 to 120,000 Somalis in Minneapolis. Right. That's why. Yeah. Right. Not because all of a sudden Minnesotans just got really stupid. No, like there's an ethnic bloc there making this happen that are not American. Like the way she talks about, like, I'm here to represent Somalia, not America.
They spoke to that guy that was running for mayor that looks like the guy from the Tom Hanks movie with the Somali pirates.
Right. Yeah.
That guy, their fundraiser was all in Somali. Yeah. There was not an English word spoken in the entire fundraiser, and the only flags that were seen were Somali flags.
And you know why the mayor, Jacob Fry, who, did the like bizarre, like almost like he had a seizure in front of George Floyd's casket at the funeral, like Jacob Fry. You know why he won? Because Omar Fateh's like clan has like this huge inter-ethnic feud with another clan of Somalis, and they all voted for him.
Oh wow!
And so like he couldn't bring the entire Somali bloc together to vote for him. Like that's where we're at today, where these like ethnic blocks and like blood feuds over 50 generations or whatever are determining elections in America's major cities. Why? Legal immigration. Yeah. Right. That's why. And so like you asked the question, like, why is legal immigration worse? Yeah. It's that. Like how does someone like Trump or anyone else say this is a problem, we need to fix it? Like are you going to denaturalize and deport 80 million people, right?
And then you bring in
80,000 people.
30 people that are Christians from South Africa that are white European
and
ancestry, and everyone loses their mind.
Yeah.
That shows you that this is demographic warfare.
Yeah.
None of it is about jobs. None of it's about supplying, labor to the labor force. It's about what I talked to Tucker about.
Yeah.
It's not the replacement theory. It's great replacement. It's true. It's demographic warfare to wipe us out.
Yeah.
Because there is a war on Western civilization, a war on Christendom.
Like they don't want America. They don't want a place like Britain
Europe,
or France or Germany or Norway. Like they want it to be an economic zone.
Yeah.
They don't want it to be a people that has all of these things shared in common.
Yeah.
They don't want that, right? Because that's a threat to the vision for humanity that they have.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's what the fight is, and you have to be willing to just say it out loud.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to be called like horrible, awful names. Like I'm sure, this will be clipped and they'll say,
sure.
Christian nationalist pastor Andrew Isker says that there's demographic replacement.
They've left me alone.
Yeah.
They've left me alone here because what happens is they clip my stuff and then my following gets bigger. Right. So AL.com, which is a big communist media outlet in the state. And they're like, and he said the racist things. And like my following just goes,
yeah.
It's like, if you haven't been called racist, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's a social proof.
Correct.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that you need to be racist. But if you're doing the things required to save civilization, you will be called racist.
Yeah.
You will be called fascist.
Yeah.
And I said this on the radio with Scott Beeson, our radio show host for Alabama Unfiltered, stud. I need to get him in here. He's a ton of fun. What is a fascist? Well, everybody's like, well, it's this economic. No. A fascist is anyone who's resisting the Bolshevik overthrow of the West or the communist, Marxist, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There is this long march through the institutions, and anyone who is actually effective at standing in the way is a fascist.
Yes.
And anyone who's a fascist, you can kill.
That's right.
And so they label anyone who's actually creating real resistance to the communist overthrow of the West. Anyone who's creating real resistance will be labeled a fascist, and once you're labeled a fascist, they can shoot you in the neck in front of your children.
That's right. Yeah.
That is what a fascist is.
Charlie
Kirk. If you're not being called, if you're not being called a racist and a fascist, again, that doesn't mean you need to be a racist fascist. What it means is you need to be behaving in a way that will draw the ire. You need to resist this cultural onslaught. And when you resist it, you will be labeled racist and fascist.
That's right. No matter what.
And you have to be willing to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like Charlie Kirk was not an adherent to like Mussolini's political ideology or National Socialism or anything like that at all. But the bullet said, "Hey, fascist, catch."
Yeah.
Right. That's what he was called.
Yeah.
That's what all these I posted the day that he died. I just went on ADL.org and searched Charlie Kirk, and boom, right there it said he's that far right wing Christian nationalist.
We broke the story that SPLC had him listed on their hate list.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, all these groups had labeled him as a hate speech guy, whatever, like put him on a hit list for these whack jobs to kill. And it's like, that's what you're going to be called if you're effective. You know who's not effective? The people that say, oh, no, the great replacement theory, that's racist. That's a conspiracy theory.
You committed a racism.
Yeah, and it's like, well, no, like they celebrate it. They cheer about it. Right, it's real. Right, they're happy that the most common name in every major European city of a newborn baby is Mohammed. They want that.
Look at all the articles, and I don't know if which guy it was. They did the White Boy Summer promo video like a couple of years ago, and it went through and it showed all the articles about white people, like whites are becoming the minority in the West, and this is a good thing. And it was just like 1,000 articles just like that. They're celebrating what they're doing. Yeah,
and it's like, and you look at it. I mean, I think of the book. Oh man, I'm blanking on it now that we're live, and I can't think of the name. Oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of the book now. But the book about The Unprotected Class by Jeremy Carl. It finally.
Oh my God, yeah, I've had him on.
Yeah, and it's like, man, like that book is it. Like that's what I'm talking about. It's not like, oh yes, I want to have white supremacy and fascism and I don't like people that are not white. Like no, it's simply that like the majority of America is white, and this is the group that is discriminated against on purpose.
Yeah.
Right. Purposefully, like you're celebrated for it. You are given the total ability to do it. And like, that's bad.
And then you're taught to loathe yourself culturally by the institutions.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want anyone to hate anyone else.
Yeah.
I don't want, whites hating blacks, blacks hating whites. I don't want that. Nobody should want that.
Yeah.
But they do want that to happen to white people.
Whites, correct.
And I don't want anyone discriminating. I don't want any of that. It's like, no, just let a company hire whoever they think is the best person for that job.
Yeah.
Right? Why should any of these things have to play any role in it whatsoever? Just say, this is the best employee. That's who we're hiring.
Yeah.
Right? But that's illegal. You cannot do that. And so like, that's the major issue. And this is what like Charlie would talk about when because the big thing after he was killed was, he spoke against the Civil Rights Act. Did you know he's clearly a Nazi because he spoke against the Civil Rights Act. He must be a white supremacist. And this is the thing they attack me for when Siege and I on our podcast have talked about the Civil Rights Act is not like, oh man, I would just love to repeal the Civil Rights Act so I could be racist against black people. Like, no, absolutely not. Like the reason why it's bad is because it's used to actively discriminate against one group, the unprotected class, right? That's why it's bad.
And the legacy of civil rights, I had Chad Jackson, black guy, on to talk about Martin Luther King and who he really was here in Alabama, okay? And we talked about his documentary and what is the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. And civil rights. Well, it was the ushering in of Marxism. It was the subversion of the church, and it was, like those things. But then it's also in Montgomery. If you get in a car crash, you might not have plasma because of all the bullet wounds that they have to treat at the hospitals, man. And so that is what's happened in these cities. And like Tucker says, he goes, okay, well, I was always taught that the civil rights was the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of America. So I'm going to go to Selma, the heart of the civil rights movement, and they should be flourishing.
Yeah, it's
not.
It's not at all.
Newsflash, it's not.
And it's like, no. And when you talk about these, like it used to be, I mean, it still kind of is, like totally forbidden to talk about it. But it's like, no, I just want Americans, right? All Americans, but like the majority of which are still like, white people.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be discriminated against. I don't like in jobs. I don't want foreign people to have a preference over American citizens, white, black, whatever. I don't want that to be the case. I want Americans, right? People who have been here, who have fought in our wars, or whose family has died for this country. Yeah. I don't want them to be preferenced by a guy like Mom Donnie who got here 5 years ago, right? That's insane. That clearly like hates our country. Yeah. Right. That's the choice that we have. Is not like, oh yes, this foreign, they're just longing to breathe free, the huddled masses. And it's like, no, look at that guy. Like he hates
America.
Yes, he hates us. And I just want people that love our country to do well.
Yeah.
Right. That's it.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Well, this is going to be publishing after Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving. And I just want to go back to my roots. You talked about yours. Yeah. Mine actually go back to, you think I'm racist, I'm actually deeply Native American. I go back to the Wampanoag tribe.
There you go.
No, but we did our, whatever it is. We didn't do the blood test, but they tracked, my Aunt Debbie went back and did all the things, and it goes back. And my 17th great grandfather was Chief Massasoit of the Wampanoags, who was there at the first Thanksgiving. Well, it's his brother, Chief Quataquina.
Oh, no
But
way.
his two daughters, who were Wampanoag princesses, married two boys that came on the boat after the Mayflower.
Okay.
And so two Englishmen that came over on the boat after the Mayflower married two Wampanoag princesses, and they were kicked out of the thing for intermarrying. And then I guess from what my understanding is, they went to a prison colony that is now called Martha's Vineyard. So I don't know. Who knows if it's all true, but that's my Thanksgiving heritage story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's incredible.
Andrew Isker, thank you so much for your time. All right, guys, that'll wrap it up. Check out Andrew as your handle's Boniface option on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
You will be catechized in good Christian nationalist pedagogy by following him on the X platform. I highly recommend you do that. Really good stuff. And as always, until next time, put your trust in God and keep your powder dry.